Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we're on the website of Anderson Garland Auctioneers based in the UK. And we're going to have a look at their latest auction, which is the music auction, which is music and musical instruments. Before we get into this, I'd just like to say if you enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing because it really helps, and feel free to comment and like or email. All of this stuff also helps. So yeah, here we have the music auction. It's actually spread over a few days, but what we're looking at, the musical instrument part, this is on the 2nd of March, lots 449 to 635. I believe that starts on page 5 of the catalogue if you were to have a look. So quite a few things kind of going on here. So it is the 28th of February today, so only a couple of days until this auction is due to happen. The buyer's premium for this auction is 30%. It's quite high. I'm not sure why it's quite so high. Maybe they're including all the fees and all of that stuff in it, but it's quite high. As I said, this auction is based in the UK, so if you're outside of the UK, if you're in Europe or somewhere else in the world, bear in mind kind of import, export fees, all of that stuff, shipping, all of that kind of fun stuff. We're just going to try and blitz through this auction, but there are quite a few lots, as I said, probably getting close to 200 instruments, so we'll try and speed over some things and then look in more detail at some other things. So anyway, without further ado, let's just crack on. So Yamaha piccolo trumpet there, estimate 4 to 600. Yamaha trumpet 150 250. Tenor saxophone 2 to 300. Tenor saxophone again here, alto saxophone by Selma, Yamaha saxophone, Yamaha cornet, Yamaha trumpet. I mean, these are all fine, but they're new, so nothing too exciting to look at. Yamaha cornet there, Elkhart cased flute, and some other bits there. Boozy and Hawkes clarinet, Noble Paris clarinet, Moek Nick bass recorder cased. So have a quick look at this actually. This is quite a big recorder, hence the name. The Moek is a very good brand. Another Moek soprano recorder there, alto recorder, tenor recorder. Looks like a whole set of someone's here. Crumhorn, stamped wood. It's quite interesting. 100 to 200. You don't often see crumhorns in auctions. 3 Dolmetsch treble recorders here, and Adler recorder, Dolmetsch recording for Aulos recorders. That's interesting. A pearl flute there. A Honecker parrot accordion. A Pancotti Macerata 120 bass accordion. We've got a classic Anglo concertina there, attributed to George Jones. Let's have a look at this. 100 to 200, in need of restoration. We know that these are always popular. And then a Lacanal Anglo System concertina. These are always popular as well, 250 to 300. Right, now getting into things that I understand a bit more about. A cello, full-size cello, possibly Scottish. Okay, 100 to 150 is the estimate. Looks like an interesting cello actually. And I think the low estimate is because it has one of the most horrific soundpost cracks on the back that I've ever seen. That's a real value killer. It's all over the shop really. Actually quite a nice looking cello. Unfortunate about that kind of damage. I mean, that is, wow, literally one of the worst soundpost cracks I've ever seen. Cracks everywhere on the top. It is really struggling, that one. It'd be interesting to know if that's patched or not. But still, and it actually quite a nice instrument, I'll be honest. I quite like it. 3/4 size cello here, 60 to 100, 19th or 20th century. It's interesting looking cello actually. The edges, that's pretty odd. That's quite curious. Moving on. Half-size Hungarian cello, we can skip that. Stentor and Hungarian cellos, you can go past that. Half-size cello, you can ignore that. Oh, okay, a Hopf viol. Interesting. Dated from 1975. I don't think that these are the greatest viols if you were looking to go into performing, but maybe as just a if you wanted to have a little one to have in your studio or something, it's probably okay. 100 to 200, can't really argue with that too much. German 3/4 size violin. Let's have a look at a few pictures here if we can. This looks fairly standard there, 30 to 50. Nothing too crazy going on there. Violin labelled Rigart Rubus. These are the German violins with the round edges, usually with like some kind of Russian labelling. I mean, I have read somewhere that some of them originally were actually made in Russia, or the initial ones were, and then the rest are German, but not quite sure. But they're quite popular, I think, with fiddle players and things. There you go, St. Petersburg label, but not my kind of thing. 70 to 100 is a fair estimate though. Violin after Jean-Baptiste Vuillaume, continental violin, 35.5 length the back. Okay, nice craquelure on that. Quite nice looking back actually. 5 to 800. I don't know if we had something similar to this in another auction, or if this was from the same auction. Can't actually remember, but it looks familiar. In any case, nice looking violin. I'm sure that will sell pretty well. I mean, 5 to 800, as long as it's a nice playing violin. Just trying to see if there's some funny cracks going on here. So it might have a sound post crack in the back. Wood is a bit wavy. Doesn't say. Hard to know, but nice looking violin anyway. French Miracle violin, 1900. Couple of bows there. Pretty standard looking. That is pretty interesting bow. JTL. Oh, it's a Dulcis Fortis. It's one of the low range ones, 300 to 400. Yeah, I don't know. It's not unreasonable. 3 violins for restoration. Okay, what can we see? That's just standard junk there. Okay. There's one of them looks kind of vaguely interesting, but not really seeing a lot of promise there. This is, we can skip that. 4 violins for restoration. Let's see, can we see anything good there? Okay, it's actually interesting scroll. Okay. That's a trade violin. Slightly unusual. Waist is quite narrow there. That could be like a amateur English thing or something. Yeah, hard to say, but it might be some okay stuff there. 40 to 70. I think you could bid on that and do pretty well. That'll probably go for a few hundred, I would have thought. 4 violins for restoration. Let's have a look. Looks like some funky varnish things on some of these. Okay. Interesting. Quite an interesting mixture of violins there, 50 to 80. I mean, it has potential for sure. Scottish violin with repairs labelled WH Falconer Perth. Heavily varnished. Okay, 50 to 80, but has potential. 3 violins for restoration. I don't think we need to look at those. Another 3 violins for restoration. Let's have a quick look. One of them is literally in bits. I'm not seeing anything super interesting in this one. 30 to 50. Oh, we've done something funny then. No, we can ignore that one. Ignore the Chinese violin. French violin for restoration, 40 to 60. Not particularly exciting, that one. Not convinced. Bohemian violin and another for restoration. That's a pretty bad crack there. Yeah, don't think this is the greatest of lots there. Andrew Schroeter for R. Paysold. So kind of trade violin there, 80 to 120. German violin, Schweitzer. Classic 19th century trade violin, made to look a bit more than it is. I've taken a lot of photos of it, and it's in a terrible condition, so 40 to 60, that's a reasonable estimate. Violin after Jacob Steiner. That's the standard trade violin. 6 violins and a viola for restoration. Okay, these looks like they've been messed about with and the varnish has been fiddled with. It looks mainly kind of tradey. It's hard to say exactly what's going on. One of these had some kind of, is it a number stamp or something? Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this one. Yep, not sure. A lot of them are quite far gone, I'd say. With the varnish stripped, it affects the value. 10 various bows. Are we going to get into the bows at the moment? I don't think so. And some more bows. Some of these might be okay, to be fair. Maybe for students or something. Whole load of other bows. Some more bows. I think you can go past that. You can follow the link in the description, have a look at it in your own time. Let's see. Lowendal Conservatory violin. It's like a better level of trade violin. Needs a bit of cleaning, a bit of TLC. Bow there, could be silver mounted bow maybe. 100 to 150, yeah, that's fair. It's a fair estimate. Early Victorian mahogany duet stand, 2 to 300. These are actually quite popular. This will probably sell quite well, I would think. A Tim Phillips violin, numbered 134. Okay, interesting. 5 to 700. It's an interesting looking model there. I'm not sure how popular that will be, but you never know. Baroque style violin bow. Let's have a look. Okay, it's quite a nice sleek head there. Clip-in frog. Don't recognise the stamp there. Doesn't say. In the manner of a 17th century Italian bow. In a pine case. Yeah, it's got some kind of monogram. 2 to 300. If you recognise the monogram, do comment. Hindusine violin. We can ignore that, I think. Stradivari style violin. Okay. What does that actually mean? Oh, that's probably quite a nice, so possibly quite a nice bow in that one. That bow not. Other bow could be. Looks in fairly okay condition. 80 to 120 could be alright. The bow looks half decent. Can ignore this lot. German violin. Let's have a look at this. Looks fairly standard. Maybe of a higher level. Continental cello. It's a kind of modern instrument there. 3 to 400. 19th century violin and bow. Okay. Interesting. Let's have a look at the back on that. quite a nice violin, that. A lot of pictures, needs a bit of TLC. Bit of a repairs there. Scrolls definitely had a bit of work. But yeah, interesting. I mean, I dare say that that's probably an 18th century violin rather than a 19th century. 60 to 80 would be very cheap. That's an interesting lot for sure. JTL violin. Yeah, not too bad. 600 to 800. Violin, bow and case. Looks in fairly okay condition there. 40 to 60. Yeah, it's fairly good estimate. German violin. Let's see. That looks fairly standard. The weird frog on that bow. 19th / 20th century violin. Okay. It's quite interesting looking model. Looks almost a bit just in case, almost like a interesting violin, that. 400 to 600. Yeah. It's quite a nice looking violin, to be fair. Gretsch tenor ukulele there, 40 to 60. Always popular. Mandolin banjo and banjolele. Florian G banjo. Antoria banjo. David Oddy G banjo. Vintage mandolin and mahalo ukulele. David Oddy octave mandola. Let's see, an A-style left-handed mandolin. Janisch F-style mandolin, left-handed. Acoustica Elite Series mandolin. Cort X6 guitar. Vintage bass. Les Paul style guitar and encore guitar. 1962 Gibson L7C, 3.5 to 4,500. Nice jazz guitar there. From the collection of the late Alan Wilkes, Midland session guitarist and teacher. Let's actually pull up the pictures. Yeah, quite a nice guitar. Kyoto classical guitar. 1971 Fender Hardtail Strat 3 to 5,000. Let's have a look at a few pictures of that. Actually, they've taken the neck out and the pickups to check all the serials. Hokada guitar there. Right, books, we can ignore that. Jedwood X Factor Interest JJ guitar. Interesting. Actually, like, to be fair, these JJ guitars are really, like, quite nice. So it's almost a shame about the Jedwood thing. I think that's a pretty good price. I mean, if you got it for that, it'd be a pretty good guitar. Vintage reissued series V6 guitar by JHS Vintage. Let's see what else. Strat style guitar. Looks like maybe a home build type one. Vintage brand SG style guitar. Hendy Ariel Bender 54 guitar. That's interesting. 80 to 120. Never heard of this before. Looks interesting. Charles Hendy Spyro Bender 59 guitar. Eert Corsair guitar 50 to 100. standard and a Strat. Okay, Strat style guitar, looks like pretty worn. Anderson studio guitar, interesting. 100 to 150. Looks fairly nice. Hand built in Norfolk, UK. Okay, interesting. Well, that's a cheap estimate then, if that is correct. Loudon custom guitar, 800 to 1200. 010 jumbo. This is surely got to be worth a bit more than the estimate on that. That's interesting. That'll do well, I'm sure. Manuel Rodriguez classical guitar. Yamaha SA 1000 semi-acoustic guitar, 3 to 500. A lot of these Yamaha semi-acoustics are pretty good, pretty nice. Ozark guitar there. Adam Black 12 string. Kevin Parsons white label guitar. Another Kevin Parsons. Stag guitar. Walden Natura Gretsch Historic Series acoustic. Recording King RO227. I think all the estimates in this auction are pretty fair, or fair to low really. Epiphone Special 2, Fender Squire Stratocaster, Kevin Parsons guitar, 1986. Let's have a look at that a bit more. Gear for Music, can ignore that. Jose Ramirez model. Actually, we should look at this a bit more. Jose Ramirez model 1A, a special classical guitar. This is like a high level classical here. Let's have a look. This is a professional grade. Very neat. It's quite a nice guitar. 2,500 to 3,500 there. Indian rosewood back and sides. Yep, nice looking guitar. 1981 Gibson Les Paul Custom left-handed. Made in Kalamazoo, 1981. Be good for the left-handers. That's nice. Some quite good guitars in this auction, actually, to be fair. 1970s Fender left-handed Stratocaster. Another one there. Nice pickups. Good for the left-handers. Fender 2016 AM Elite Stratocaster left-handed, 5 to 800 there. 2010 Fender Telecaster left-handed, 4 to 600. Fender Squire Telecaster, Squire Stratocaster there. Breedlove Passport travel guitar. Baby Taylor travel guitar. David Oddy handmade Treble O acoustic. There's a lot of kind of handmade guitars and things in this auction. Loudon again, interesting. 800 to 1200, that is very cheap. Left-handed Martin D28, 600 to 1000. Okay. Gretsch Tim Armstrong, Electromatic. Tim Armstrong of Rancid and Operation Ivy and various other cool bands and that kind of punky ska vibe. That's pretty cool. Left-handed Antoria bass guitar. CSL. This is kind of like, I think these are they Japanese kind of budget ones. Yeah, bolt-on, but some people like these. Antoria left-handed acoustic. Takamine acoustic guitar. Left-handed Steinberger Spirit guitar. Must have been someone's left-hand collection, really. A white pedal steel guitar. That's pretty cool. It's a bit dusty. It needs a bit of a clean. National Resophonic Style 2 to 3000. The classic resonator brand. It's pretty good. Epiphone Zenith fretless. That's pretty cool looking bass. Quite like that. Aria Pro 2 string, 6-string bass, sorry. Tanglewood violin bass. Hofner bass. Sire Marcus Miller 2nd generation P7. No idea. First time I've heard of that brand before. Fender Precision bass with original fretless neck and replacement Mexican neck. Okay, interesting. 5 to 800. Fullerton 78 to 81. Looks in pretty nice condition. Sire Marcus Miller V9. Once again, no idea what these are. Presume some kind of budget thing. Ernie Ball Music Man Stingray 5 bass. Good old Ernie Ball. Rickenbacker 4003 bass guitar, 1000 to 1500. They're always popular. Music Man Sterling, that's the budget Music Man. Variax Line 6 bass. Gibson SG bass there. Takamine electroacoustic bass. Has guitar bass. That's pretty cool. Quite like that. I like the top. Is a nice bit of wood on that. Fender California guitar. EQ Ranger 12-string. Ozark resonator bass. Arbiter Rickenbacker style bass. Interesting. 3 unfinished guitar necks and 2 bodies. Epiphone case. Fender Mexico 5-string jazz bass, original 1980s Aria Pro 2 active bass guitar. Nice. These are still pretty cool. These Arias are good, the old ones. 2 Fender acoustic guitars, can ignore that for now. Some generic amps there, bit of microphone stuff. Ooh, 1960s Vox AC30 bass amp head and Vox bass cabinet, 1500 to 2000. It's quite nice. Let's have a look at that. Love some retro amplifier stuff. It's a nice amp and cab, that. Black Star amp there, Vox mini amp, Spark practice amp, Digitech loop pedal, Yamaha practice amp, some other bits. Ashdown acoustic radiator, PV Envoy, Marshall JCM. Some other amps here, Boss GT5, Ernie Ball volume pedal. Some microphones, more microphones, load of pedals there, Trace Elliott, multi-track, blender, signal processor, synth there, Casio digital piano, bongos there, very cool, djembes, speakers, tuners. I think we're getting towards the end of this auction. Yep, and that's pretty much it. That is the music auction, or at least the bit that we are looking at, which is from page 527. I mean, I actually think this is a great auction. Pretty good pictures, some interesting stuff there. The estimates are all pretty reasonable. Potentially some good bargains there, or potentially something which might catch a few people's interests. Quite like this cello. A few other bits. I'm just definitely going to have a watch out on this auction. I'm going to have a look at the catalogue again in a bit more detail myself. If you watch this video, I recommend having a look at the catalogue yourself in more detail. Link will be in the description. Always check through the catalogues a few times. You never know what you might spot. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching as always, and I'll catch you next time. Ciao. Many thanks for tuning in to the Musical Instrument Investigator. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please like, subscribe and turn on notifications, and watch out for the next video coming soon.